Γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε στο Euronews. Οι δημοτικές εκλογές της Κυριακής στην Τουρκία έχουν μετατραπεί σε ένα προσωπικό στοίχημα για τον πρόεδρο Ερντογάν, που ήταν παρόν στην προεκλογική εκστρατεία, στηρίζοντας τους υποψηφίους του κόμματός του. Η κρισιμότερη μάχη δίνεται μεταξύ του Εκρέμ Μάμογλου και του εκλεκτού του Ερντογάν για το Δήμο της Κωνσταντινούπολης, Μουράτ Κουρούμ. Το τι μπορεί να σημαίνει η νίκη του Μάμογλου αλλά και των υπολείπων υποψηφίων της αντιπολίτευσης συζητούμε με τον Σερχάτ Γκιουβάνς, που είναι καθηγητής στο Πανεπιστήμιο Καντήρ Χάς της Κωνσταντινούπολης.
Hello and thank you for joining us. Which are the stakes in these Turkish elections, the municipal elections?
Well, the stakes are high for Erdogan, President Erdogan, and the opposition, because especially the race is now very much focused on Istanbul. Istanbul is very important ideologically and politically for Erdogan. Istanbul has a special place in his understanding of the world, in his ideological perception of the world, because the revival, according to him and his supporters, started from Istanbul, which used to be the seat of the Ottoman Empire. So that is the ideological part. And the political and economic part is that, Istanbul is the most populous, the most industrially developed, and the richest city in Turkey. And so the economic stakes are really high. When 4 years ago, Erdogan's party lost the elections, they were also denied a huge source of income that kept pro-government, civil society, religious groups, and contractors from access to a large source of public funding in the form of municipal contracts and municipal funds. Now Erdogan wants to take Istanbul back so that he can continue with his ideological narrative regarding the revival of Turkey with an Ottoman overtone, moreover. And also, once his party recovers the municipal seat in Istanbul, that means they will also secure access to those huge funds that are available to local administration in Istanbul. For the opposition, after they lost the presidential election, it was a clear victory for Erdogan. There was a huge disappointment on the part of the supporters of the opposition parties, and there was this general lack of interest in politics. So it seems that the municipal elections is the last chance to keep opposition voters kind of engaged in politics in Turkey. If the opposition, particularly the CHP, Republican People's Party, fails to secure a win in 3 major cities plus several big cities across Anatolia, then it will be very difficult for them to mobilize their supporters for future elections and to remain relevant to Turkey's political life indeed.
So as you said, the key for these elections is Istanbul. When Recep Tayyip Erdogan's party lost power in Istanbul 5 years ago, that was a major victory for the opposition, as you said. 5 years later, Erdogan wants to take back Istanbul. What a victory of Ekrem İmamoğlu would mean?
A victory will mean that he will put his policies back on track, because losing Istanbul caused a huge dent to his plans regarding the city of Istanbul and regarding Turkey. So he will be able to continue as if nothing had happened. It was just as if it had been just a hiccup in his thinking. And moreover, he will be able to consolidate his presidential election victory with victory in municipal elections. So he has a lot to gain from the municipal elections, but the stakes are equally high for him in case his candidates lose municipal elections, particularly in Istanbul and in Ankara.
As you said before, in the presidential elections, there was a major blow for the opposition. There was then a united front against Erdogan. Is this front, the opposition front, again united against Erdogan?
It's just the opposite, that the opposition front collapsed as a result of the failure in the presidential elections. But this collapse of the opposition bloc does not seem to have much of an effect on the election chances of municipal candidates like İmamoğlu or Mansur Yavaş, İmamoğlu in Istanbul and Mansur Yavaş in Istanbul. It seems that the parties are not the members of that or the participants in that opposition bloc, the political parties and their leaders are not enjoying a huge degree of influence on their voters, and it seems that majority of their voters will vote for CHP's candidates in municipal elections, despite the fact that the coalition bloc collapsed and unraveled.
So let's discuss a little bit the races in the three big metropoles of Turkey, Istanbul, Ankara and Izmir. Which are the main contenders, and what the polls show right now?
Well, in Istanbul, the main contenders are İmamoğlu and Murat Kurum, who was a minister in Erdogan's cabinet. Until recently, it was considered a close race, but in the last couple of weeks, it seems that İmamoğlu has widened the gap. And according to the results of latest polls, which were released 2 days ago, the gap between the two candidates is as high as 9%. So that's a clear lead for İmamoğlu, and that explains why Erdogan is campaigning, has decided to step in to the picture and campaign for AKP's candidate in Istanbul. But this so far has been counterproductive because it has kind of sharpened the resolve of the opposition voters to vote, to go to the ballot boxes and to vote for İmamoğlu as the person, as the only politician who beat Erdogan twice in the ballot boxes 4 years ago. In Ankara, the race is not exciting as in Istanbul. It seems that Erdogan and his party have kind of come to grips with the fact that they could do little to overcome Mansur Yavaş, the opposition candidate's lead in the elections. And the AKP's candidate, has been struggling with issues of personal wealth, and it seems that he commands a huge, especially he has huge properties. He's a huge property owner, and this also worked against him. And in Izmir, the opposition, the CHP candidate, did not start out very well. But according to the latest figures, the race in Izmir will be closer than in Istanbul and in Ankara. But the CHP candidate, the opposition candidate, has been making some gains against his opponent from Erdogan's political party. And in Izmir, it will be the closest, I guess, of the three cities. The race for Izmir will be closest and will be decided probably by a small margin, in contrast to Istanbul and in Ankara. And particularly in Ankara, Mansur Yavaş enjoys a clear lead over Erdogan's candidate.
Which were the main characteristics of this pre-electoral period, apart from the fact that Erdogan decided to step in, as you said, and focus in Istanbul?
His campaigners knew beforehand that Erdogan's direct involvement would work in favor of Ekrem İmamoğlu. As we already discussed, the presidential elections indeed alienated many opposition voters from politics and from elections. But Erdogan's personal appearance, direct involvement indeed, was bound to bring those alienated voters back into the fold, and this is exactly what happened. But some Erdogan supporters claim otherwise, arguing that without Erdogan's direct involvement, Murat Kurum would stand no chance against a charismatic politician like İmamoğlu. İmamoğlu is considered to be in the same league in terms of charisma with Erdogan, whereas Murat Kurum lacks that. So Erdogan was in a difficult situation regarding whether he should step in or stay out, but he chose to step in, and so far it seems to have produced the results that those commentators expected, which indeed kind of brought those alienated opposition voters into the political game and decide to vote for Ekrem İmamoğlu, despite the huge disappointment of the presidential elections.
Thank you very much for this discussion.
You're welcome.